Okay, in this segment, continuing on with connections, I showed you how to make a connection at a termination. And the other type of connections that you will make as doing residential electrical work is by splicing two wires together. So now I'm going to take a quick demonstration. The first method I want to show you, which is how I learned back in the 70s when I first started, was how to make a pigtail splice. So I use my strippers, I strip the wire back. Now, the secret to making a nice pigtail splice is to take your two wires, cross them over, get your lineman's pliers, and come straight in. Don't go in at an angle in either direction. Just go straight in, gently twist the wires again, twist the wires, cut some of the excess off. Now, as you can see, the two wires interwrapped around each other. It's a very solid connection, okay? Okay, we have our splice here with two conductors, number 14. I've selected the yellow wire nut, which is capable. Give it a nice, good, snug, tight on there, okay? Now, you may open up a box, find out that there's more than two wires spliced together, and the splice needs some fixing. Maybe your house is old. I've worked in houses that are 100 years old and older. Sometimes you have to fix things. So if you're going to try to do 3 wires, it gets a little bit more difficult. Again, the trick is to take your time, get a nice start, and twist those wires together slowly, okay? So that they all wrap around each other, nice and tight, okay? Trim off the excess. All right, keep them wrapped tight. Again, 3 number 14s, my yellow wire nut is adequate, and I tighten that down. We'll give an attempt here at 4 conductors. You may see this if you have a switch box with, say, three or 4 switches, and each one of those switches, remember I talked about feeds coming in, okay? So you may see a splice, and if it needs some correction, gets a little bit more difficult. I'm not as young as I used to be. My hands aren't as nimble. But anyway, we're going to give this a good twist. Remember, look over there. Okay, the importance of your connections. These are the weakest links in any electrical system. Tools are getting old. I know I'm not impressing you right now, but we'll get the job done. So we get a good twist there. Now, because I've got 4 conductors, I'm going to go with the red wire nut and give them a good twist. Take your time and you'll get a good splice. Okay, so now the next question is, how do you finish that pigtail splice? And the answer is with a wire nut. Now, when you go to your store to buy your wire nuts, or if you order them online, be careful. The first thing you want to make sure is that they are recognized by a national testing laboratory, okay? That's this UL symbol right here. There could be other symbols, but UL is a very popular one. The other thing is that it will list is what wire sizes they are good for. Now we're looking to put 2 14 gauge wires together. So we want to make sure that our wire nut is suitable for the range of wires that we are installing. Okay, the other nice thing about the wire nuts is that they're color coded. And basically most manufacturers go along with this. Orange is small. There is a blue and a small gray one that are much smaller. You use them in unique situations with fixture wires for light fixtures. You also have yellow wire nuts. We have red. We have a little bigger here with these grays, they all have the wire selection size on them. And then for grounding wires, your green or your bare, you can get ones that are also green. Okay, so now we have these different colored wire nuts that are great for your grounded and your ungrounded conductors. If you're making up a ground or grounding conductor, you really have two options. You can use these green ground screws. You can also use what's known as a crimp barrel. Now, the nice thing about these green wire nuts is they have a little hole in the center, so sometimes what you're going to want to have is a tail that you can, this wire, so that you can attach it to your ground tail on the receptacle, switch, whatever. So what you would do is take your lineman pliers again, give them a twist, take a pair of pliers, cut this off. Now you can slide that little tail out, put the wire nut on, and it's secure. And yes, homeowners, when you do connect your grounding wires together, you must secure them with either a wire nut or what I'm about to show you, a crimp. So that leaves you that tail. Now you can attach that to here. The other option is these little ground clips. You can put them on there, but now you need a pair of crimpers. In my basic tools, I showed you these. They're decades old. And you would crimp that down. The advantage is this takes up less room than that. Okay, at this time, I wanted to remind you about when AC current flows, it creates heat, all right? And the wire will then expand and contract. So having that surface area is very important. When you do the pigtail splice, those wires wrapped around each other, then the wire nut secures them. Now there are other options available on the market. When I talked before about the devices, I talked about the backstab. I don't use them. I can't stop you from using them as an inspector, but I'll just show you, they do make them for splices also. And what you can do is strip the wire down, and also this one here has a wire range on it that is from number 12 to number 20 gauge. And what you do is you just push it in, and now it will not come out, and that creates a splice for you. Now, as I stated before, I'm not a big fan of backstabbing, and I took the liberty of taking one of these apart. And what happens when you push that wire in, you can see there's just a little tab here that makes contact, and you can't pull that wire back out because that spring is up against there. So that's your only point of contact. So just showing you how these things are constructed, why I choose not to use them. Again, if you want to use them, be more than welcome. They are UL listed, okay? They are acceptable. I just choose not to use that way. I prefer to do a pigtail splice with the proper wire nut. And just remember, the proper wire nut is just as important as the splice. Make sure that your wire nut is appropriately chosen for the number of conductors and the size of the conductors that you're putting together. Another common situation a homeowner will run into is you want to paint a room. Right now we're painting a laundry room because we moved the washer and dryer from the hallway into there. I had to redo the one whole wall. But anyway, so I took the light fixture down to paint the ceiling. You can see here's the black white. Here's our grounding conductor. Now, when you undo the original splice, you take the fixture down. Don't be afraid to trim that down. Use the appropriate size on your strippers. You don't want to, these are a stranded wire now. They're not solid in that fixture wire, okay? The appropriate one for this will either be orange, or it could be the smaller blue or small gray conductors. Don't be afraid of it. Just stick these two side by side. Nice clockwise tightening. And as you can see, a good solid connection.